Did you realize there are people playing on budget PCs, people who play at 4K, people who want to play remastered like, it's intended to? Have you seen what the game looks like on remastered? Hey, fellas. Um, I'm just rolling out of bed to make this video real quick because my phone's blowing up a little bit, but it seems my little 10-second video I just posted out of nowhere, is causing a little bit of a reaction. Basically, it was just me posting a picture picture of a statement Pearl Abyss put out regarding the Warrior reboot. It was something along the lines of, um, we know there's an issue with, um, performance fatigue or something, like, from using too many animation cancels on Warrior for a lot of players, and the way they phrased it made it sound like they're gonna dumb down the class and maybe eliminate some of the animation cancels. I posted a 10-second video of me just saying, "Stop, please don't do this," and a lot of people had something to say about that. So I'm gonna start off by cherry picking some of the dumbest comments, and then move on to some of the more coherent ones, and we can try to pick these apart. So here's the video. Stop. Please stop. Please don't do that. Don't do this. That's about it. I'm gonna start off with this one because this one's a personal vendetta. Somebody asks, "Who are you anyways?" Who am I? No. I just said no when I play Warrior a lot, but this guy, someone made a joke comment, "Watch your tongue," but I guess you knew this man's a legend, a god, and like Norelio, he's just a man. Hands the greatest warrior of all time. He's got the wife, the kids, the house, the mortgage, and he's a proud owner of a 20 stack. Fuck you, by the way. This guy goes, also got banned for RMT trade. True. And using macros. He linked my own post from my other Reddit account where I said, "You can clearly hear McCann's macros at work. Will Cacao take action?" And it was just me promoting one of my, I think it's a private video now because the video is honestly terrible. But yeah. This guy's Sandbox Hero said, "So this bullshit is better?" He links a video. "Sorry, but shut the fuck up. Shit like this should not be possible nor encouraged. Neither playing in RuneScape mode on a RTX 3080 to abuse animation cancels should be the norm of Warrior gameplay." He linked the video of the chopping kick bug that was patched a while ago. This is not a normal animation cancel. This was a bug. What? This guy said, "It's a positive thing for them to try to eliminate the unfair advantage that some players on certain classes have just by virtue of having a stronger computer. That's every class in the game. What does not wanting animation cancels taken from your kit have anything to do with computers or the optimization of the game performance on all computers as a whole, like at all?" This guy says, "How do you expect them to remotely balance the game without addressing the FPS abuse, which is directly connected to APM?" FPS abuse. The post was about animation cancels and it being too hard for some people to keep up with. What does this have to do with FPS abuse in the first place? Should they balance around RuneScape mode? Anybody with, like, I remember playing on a crappy computer. I could get to 200 FPS, like way back in the day. I could get to 200 FPS just by getting a 144 Hz monitor. You don't have to play with shit graphics. I guess that's just my reputation at this point, but you don't have to play with shitty graphics to get high FPS in BDO. You just have to optimize your settings. How are they balancing around RuneScape mode? I personally play on Opti mode just so I can see people because they're highlighted in red different. If they were highlighted like how they're highlighted in Opti mode on higher graphics, I would be playing on higher graphics, I can assure you that. I remember back in the day with permanent lingering immunity abuse, it was impossible for me to get CC. Not even Desync could get past it. I think he's referring to lingering super armor, which that's not even true. Desync could get past it. I'm not sure what point he's trying to make. Now they are coming for the other broken thing that they have ignored for 5 years. Which is what? They said nothing about FPS? The post said nothing about FPS. What are you talking about? Limiting animation cancels won't stop people from juicing their FPS to go faster. Sure, some of the classes with more animation cancels won't be able to chain them, but it doesn't, there's no connection there. In my opinion, this is necessary for the game to actually become better, even if it comes at the expense of enjoyment for all veteran players on the original classes. Think about what you just said right there. And for the people that upvoted that, think about what this guy just said right there. The game will become better by eliminating what long-term players enjoy the game for. Like, eliminating what long-term players play the game for is not going to be better for the game whatsoever. And your whole entire post is just completely irrelevant because my video had nothing to do with FPS. This guy said a lot of vocal minority warriors wanting to keep the animation cancels. I'm not sure why he put those in quotes. Meanwhile, the rest of the player base thinking warrior is horribly unfun to fight because they'll desync teleport into you with a grab worse than any other class. Every class will desync teleport into you. What? Who's he talking about? A lot of vocal minority warriors wanting to keep the animation cancels? I'm pretty sure if you go into the warrior Discord and you ask anybody what their favorite part of the class is, anybody that plays warrior will say the movement or the animation cancels. I know more people that like the idea of warrior, like his style, weapons, outfit selection, but don't play him because of the janky animations. The animations aren't janky. Most of them are pretty fluid. And the person playing the class, regardless of what class we're talking about here, the person playing the class will, the person playing sees something very different than what the other person they're fighting sees most of the time. That's just desync. And need to play on giga low settings than I do. People that actually play warrior. Giga lower settings than I do people that actually play that. Okay. Opinion. You're not outplaying someone by spamming skills at such a high FPS and desyncing the game so completely hard that the other person can't even begin to predict or punish gaps. Let me talk to any other, like, top 5 person from any other class, and they will just look at you and just say, shut the fuck up. Like, do you think every, like, better player of their class is just randomly spamming skills trying to catch each other? Is that what you think high level BDO PvP is? A lot of these comments seem to be lacking any sort of like context or experience in PvP. It's wild to me that some people hate resist making fights RNG, but then turn around and defend literally deleting textures to get more FPS in order to make your character move so unpredictably that it becomes RNG for the person fighting you. Again, when was this post even about FPS? And then a lot of these comments were just regarding FPS. I don't know how this like entire thread turned into like FPS from my 10-second video saying like don't take out animation cancels. I'm not sure where all that came from. This guy right here says, yeah, I main Moose and I still do not agree with what they're saying. Learning warrior very well is rewarding, so should every class be. It takes skill to know how to cancel skills properly. That should not be reworked so brand new players to just start the game and literally be as skilled as someone that took them 4 years to achieve. PI don't do this. I agree with the message he's saying here. A lot of people that are like commenting on the Reddit thread and the YouTube thread, I can guarantee you, and this is where, I mean, this is where I'll give some of y'all credit. This is where my ego is gonna come in right here. I guarantee you, none of these people can play warrior like I can play it. I'm very confident in saying that in the 4 or 5 years I've played this game, I've gotten pretty decent at my main class, and having a high frame rate and having the warrior kit and or having a high frame rate isn't going to instantly just make you win fights. That's just not how it goes. A lot of people think this other guy posted something about having a ton of super armor CCs, not being able to get CC'd at all. Warrior is in a pretty vulnerable state as far as protected movement goes. You pretty much have to take Bond Solar Flare if you want to reliably move around in a 1vx situation or in any group fights. And we have one super armor CC. We have one super armor CC. This guy says, yes, PA, do it. I don't want to waste money on a new PC just to do the good combos. You've completely missed the point here, sir. They're not going to be optimizing frame rate. They're not going to be optimizing anything about the game. They're specifically going to dumb down the core mechanics of a class because some people perceive it as too hard. This guy also said, "Aw shit, FPS abusers in shambles, Prage." And then this guy, this genius right here said, "They never mention FPS. You don't even know what you just read." And this guy, I think he believes he won the argument by saying Keck W. This little cutie right here said, "Good change by Pearl Abyss. I'm sick of these Zoomer kids running around and abusing things like skill and animation cancels." I responded with, "We can get into this RuneScape mode. Anyone with a mid to upper range PC can reach 200 FPS on high graphics as long as they have a 144 to 240 Hz monitor and turning out VSync. There's no abuse here. That is just how they created the game." And then I just basically said, look at low FPS versus high FPS gameplay. What seems more competitive? What's more entertaining to watch? And then said, should we sacrifice the skill potential of a specific class or optimize other classes, give them more animation cancels and optimize frame rate so that other classes have higher skill caps? And he basically just focused in on me saying it's easy to get 200 FPS, which wasn't really my argument. I believe he just cherry-picked that because he didn't want to respond to the second part of my comment. He says, "Your argument is that it's easy to get 200 FPS. How can you even make such a ridiculous claim?" Because I'm playing on a really nice PC right now, and there's videos on my YouTube of me playing on an older rig, an older, not so good rig, getting 140 to 200 FPS. All you have to do is change your settings. That's it. He said, "You realize there are people playing on budget PCs, people who play at 4K, people who want to play remastered like, it's intended to." Have you seen what the game looks like on remastered? Like it's intended to? That's so subjective in the first place. But no, it's fine to play with RuneScape mode to get 200 FPS. Yeah, it's totally fine. It is totally fine to turn your settings down to optimization mode, a setting that the game offers you to choose in order to get a higher and more stable frame rate so you can enjoy upper tier PvP at a more competitive level. That's totally fine. This mentality, I just can't. A game should be balanced for everyone at every specs. Nothing should run client side that could benefit any type of hardware. And this is where it comes back to my initial point of the video. Don't take Warrior animation cancels out because the game is not optimized at all frame rates for all classes, if that is your argument. And he actually proves my point by trying to refute the FPS argument that I never made. The reality is that you play Warrior. If they ever do something to FPS, you get down the drain. If they ever change that FPS, you're really going to take a hit to your ego. I don't know what this had to do with my ego, my massive ego. If you ever believe FPS equals DPS equals more entertaining, so let me just break that down for a minute here. If they ever do anything to FPS, Warrior is in the shitter. So now, we take the entire game, cap it at 60 FPS, right? Boom, Warrior's in the shitter. Is that fair? That's up to you. Now, at 60 FPS, we take its animation cancels out. What do you want here? Do you just want the class to be literally unplayable? I don't know. And I think we see his motivation for this post in the first place with his final statement. "I really, really wish PA fixed it in any way, just to see the tears of the supposed demigods of PvP. So you just want to skill cap classes for the sake of people not being able to play at a certain level. You're actually disgusting."